G'day everyone, and welcome to Robyn Priest Live Your Truth, peer support for peer supporters. And so we've got this live feed today, and I'm a little less energetic today than some days, and I think we're just going to go through and see how we go. I've got some water, I've got some iced tea, I've got some coffee as we kind of have this conversation. And I don't know, I think sometimes I put these up and it shows them backwards. But I'm going to put it up and it says Olive peer work. And the other Olive goes, me too. So it's just, and you know, those... the postcards for those are available on the website, but I want a big shout out to Brooke Red in Australia because they were the ones that kind of developed those fun little peer support things. Seeing a couple of people on watching us today, so that is super cool. Some mates from all over the world, which is pretty exciting. And so... you know, this time is the time that I often share a little bit about kind of what happened in the peer support groups during the week, the things that were on top for people, kind of those kind of things. But I would love it if you guys have like questions you want to ask, things you want to say, and I'll try and keep up to it as I see it, but, you know, I'd like it to be as participatory as possible. I said that slowly because if I say it fast today, it kind of won't come out as well as maybe it could. And after this, I have a super interesting Fit and Fun for Mental Health at 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So I've been coming up with great ideas for those, and I'd actually love it if you guys had some thoughts about what you want me to do for that segment too. I've probably got enough for maybe 3 weeks now, but I would love to hear suggestions. So we've had a few interesting things happen this week. So again, it's one of those weeks that has changed day by day in terms of what we're going to kind of deal with over the coming time. You know, originally when this started, we thought it was going to be, well, maybe a couple of weeks and it would be cool, and now it's a couple of months. And I guess one of the uncertainties that peer workers have been talking about is that they really don't know when it's going to end, which, you know, when they're talking with people, there's, you know, some additional anxiety occurring around that. So, like, one of the things in terms of talking to the peer workers this week about what do we do with that? And I think I mentioned this last week. The reality is we actually don't have certainty around anything in life. We don't know what's going to happen at any point in time. And we predict that we're going to know, but realistically we didn't. If I look at my life, I think when I was younger, I would have thought I would still be in Australia. And then when I lived in New Zealand, I thought I'd stay there. And then I was in the US. And I see one of my mates from Alaska on here. I was living in Alaska and I just thought it was always going to be that way. That was where I was going to stay for a while. And things didn't work out that way, and I moved based on like situations at the time. And so I think when we're kind of thinking about our own mental wellness through this process, we are going to continually be in a state of change, at least for the foreseeable future. And it's like, what are we going to do in terms of supporting ourselves through that? And so, you know, I've been watching some media and I keep seeing mental health professionals talking on there about control what you can control. And I've been chatting to a bunch of mates who have huge anxiety and live with it day in, day out, and have been for a long time. and they're kind of saying the same things. They're hunkering down and thinking about what is it that they have control over. They have control over staying inside and not being, sorry for saying this, not being a dick and going out in getting close to other people, because the quicker we can control that, the quicker maybe we can get through this process. I just want to take a moment to say hi to the people I can see joining. I've got a couple of mates from Newfoundland on there. I've got Ontario, Massachusetts, Alaska. We've got Manitoba. They're just the people I'm seeing as they join on. And so getting back to that, what else can we control? We can control what we do in our house. And I just want to say, my good friend here has just come in to join us. I'm hoping you can see Rue. Yes, she's come in to say hello, and she's bought a toy for everyone to kind of find their happy place. So, as I said, we've got Saskatchewan too. I just saw that come on. So, we can control the things in our life about how we connect with people. We can control the pieces about who we're around, like what that physical distancing looks like. And again, I want to say, and I'm going to keep saying, it's social connectedness in spite of that physical distancing. So it's super important that we look at how do we stay connected. So, I've been talking to a number of peer workers this week about the different ways they're connecting. And I've actually, this week I was talking on the radio here in Manitoba, and they, had originally asked me, they were going to talk to me about, supporting students and parents and teachers, given the schools were now closing until they came back after the summer break. And when I got on, I was all prepared, I'd been talking to a bunch of people, done a bit of research, and then all of a sudden they didn't talk about that. They were asking me about how to stay connected with people who were elderly or maybe weren't as tech savvy. And so one of the things I was saying that I think I'm seeing, not just peer workers, but everyone connecting with people that they haven't connected with for a long time. The radio host was talking about she was going to have a evening where people who she went to university got together, and very clearly she hasn't been to university for a number of years. I don't know how many, but it's certainly not in the recent last 5 years, I wouldn't think. Sorry if I got that wrong, my friend. But and then I've been talking about how my brother and I, we haven't really talked, barely. We've probably had 3 conversations in 5 or 6 years. He's calling every day, and he's talking about what's occurring for him. And it's really interesting because I'm very clearly using the same skills I would as a peer supporter with him, in terms of thinking about that, doing that empathetic listening piece, allowing him to talk about how he's feeling, what it feels like to him, and not going, oh, well, that's stupid. He and I have some different views on, what's happening, and kind of thinking about the future and what's super important and what's not. I think one of the pieces is I'm encouraging him just to talk about how it is. And he's talked about some things that he learnt during this time about things he's done in terms of his family. And he's gone, wow, I've just noticed some of these things. And so I've been able to kind of support him to have a conversation with his family by just asking some questions. So there's pieces for me, and I wrote a couple of notes because there's some things I really want to remember about. We can support each other through this process in terms of like listening empathetically to people and just allowing them to say whatever it is. I do want to give a big shout out right now. I just saw my niece join on. So I have one family member who lives in Calgary, and that's super cool, because a couple of weeks ago one of my nephews from Australia joined, and it brings me joy that I can see my family join. So sorry, I got a bit there's a few little tears there now about that. But, when we're thinking about it, allow people to be how they are and just have conversations. I was talking to someone this week, and I was sharing that my grandmother's in kind of the final stages of her life. She's 105, right? She had she's been around for a long time. It's not unexpected. And I was sad about it. And someone actually said to me, well, she's 105, did she have a good life? She's not this, she's not that. And really all I wanted was for someone just to listen and go, that's tough not being with your family, because I had expressed it was tough not being able to get home. And I just wanted someone to validate those kind of feelings and not go into a whole range of other things. And so I think that's important when we're looking at how do we support ourselves. We can support ourselves by sharing that. Sometimes we just want someone to listen. We don't need them to fix. We don't. Those of you who've been involved in peer training with me over the years, I use that video, It's Not About the Nail, and it's on YouTube if you haven't seen it. The woman's talking and she turns, she's talking about headaches and snagging sweaters. She's got a big nail in her head, right? And so sometimes we can see those things, and it's not our role as peer supporters or even supporting ourselves to have to fix it. Sometimes it's okay just to be. And so there's some of the things I think when we've been running peer support for peer supporters this week is really just being in that space to allow those conversations to go organically. It's not about fixing it. It's not about solving it. And sometimes just allowing people to talk it through and kind of be in that kind of exploration phase with people by just, asking them some questions to gain a little more information. I always talk about being passionately curious. People often solve their stuff themselves. If they're having a hard time, it's okay to be with those feelings. It's okay to throw yourself on the couch and have a cry. Well, just be careful. If you throw yourself too hard, you might fall off. That wouldn't be so great. But it's being in those places where, even as people who are supporting our communities, we want to use those same kind of skill sets on us. So Friday I was talking in the peer support for peer supporters conversation about, are we utilising the same skill sets with ourselves that we would for others? And I know I am horrendous at doing that. I'm much harder on myself. And there's times I'm like, I should be doing this and I should be doing that and it should be blah, 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 blah. It's remember that Charlie Brown? Wah, 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 wah. That's what goes off in my head, right? And there's those things. And so I'm encouraging kind of peer supporters to treat ourselves as if we were someone we were supporting. So we would never, well, hopefully we wouldn't, be telling someone, you should do this and you should do that and you haven't done enough and why aren't you doing that? We would allow people to be in a space to kind of take a moment for themselves and see what they're feeling and be with it. And then kind of explore what are some of the self-care things that people might do in that moment in time, or what were some of the coping skills that they might utilise. And so my request is, as we go through this, we actually use those same tools with ourselves, which, I don't know, if you're like me, it can be exceedingly tough because I am the toughest boss of myself. I'm the toughest taskmaster. And I think one of the other things kind of that I've been talking to peer workers about this week is how do we actually share but not overshare? Because there are times that I know for me, and in talking to other people who are, providing support to people at the moment, that they start to share where they are but get into the weeds, the war story of it, or the, oh my God, the woe is me. And I think we also have to be responsible in those moments to pick our times when we do that. So I've got a couple of people that I talk to through that kind of process that I know I rely on. And I also have to be careful that I don't overuse them. And I just went a little quiet then because I'm like, oh, I'm touching my face. I'm scratching my face. I'm touching it. I live by myself. I'm in my own home. I'm not going near other people at the moment. I take my dog out and I'm very clearly not touching surfaces. I'm using, shirts and things to push elevator buttons or open doors or whatever. So I get really conscious when I do it because I'm like, oh, we're not meant to do it. And I don't do it when I'm outside. But when I'm in here and I've washed my hands and stuff, I realise I'm doing it. So again, it's how do we support ourselves? We show the same compassion and empathy we would when we're supporting other people. Some of the other things that have come up for people this week is people talked about feeling tired. And I totally get it. I've talked about feeling tired on fit and fun mental health, some days this week, and just taking a moment to breathe. I've got to admit, I don't often have a whole day off. And yesterday, I was a couch potato. I got up, took my dog outside, came back in and chatted to a few friends, and then went, I am super tired. And I just went and laid down and went to sleep. And when I got up, I, talked to family, talked to friends, watched TV. The only problem last night is it didn't help because I was awake all night. My head was just, I don't know. It wasn't actually thinking about anything in particular, but I just couldn't sleep forever. I probably fell asleep about 4. I threw some music on and that sometimes helps. So that was one of the things some peer workers talked about this week, using music as something to support them through this. I myself, I wanted to get up and dance at one point, and I was like, well, that's stupid. You want to go to sleep. Again, see, that little voice in our head's like, wah, 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 do this, do that, shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, should be like this. And so what I did this morning was I got up, I did some housework. I've got to say, there are times I'm just like, it's just me. Does it matter if there's dust on the TV? Does it really matter? But I thought, yeah, I'm actually going to do it. So I cleaned the house and then I did a little dance. Nobody's watching. What's that saying? Dance like nobody's watching? Well, nobody was. And I'm sure they can. I have noticed people can see in through the window if they looked up into my apartment. And I thought, well, I'm doing a happy dance. Maybe that will support them too. And I wasn't doing any other work today. So this is the only thing that could even go close to being considered work. And in reality, this is my sanity. So, I know I'm talking to a screen. I'm looking at myself going, well, I need a haircut because look at this. This is the longest it has been in 2 years. This, I'm not going to be able to see soon. So I will look like a shaggy dog. But I think we're all going through that, right? So it is just really thinking about what is it that we do to regenerate. And those 5 to 10 minute, because I realised I said 5 minutes for fit and fun mental health every day, but it's really been 10 minutes or close to it, because, I like to chat. That's why I'm doing this, just chatting away. Thank you for saying my hair looks great. When I've got a man bun happening, you'll all be like, what? But, I think we're all in the same boat, right? We're getting to see what everyone's real hair looks like, unless you go to the grocery store and buy some colour. But I challenge you to let it go natural and see what happens. Charlotte Sydney, did you hear that? Oh, she's going to slap me now. But it is that dancing thing works for me. Like, I might have had the vacuum. I might have been dancing with the vacuum cleaner. I am going to practice using the vacuum cleaner as a dance partner. Well, one, they let me lead all the time. I don't have that issue of that vacuum cleaner trying to lead. Like, it's my job. Well, like everyone knows that... Charlotte wrote no way about her hair. But like everyone knows, like in, a partnership, I want to be the lead because, someone said the other day I was masculine of centre in my field. And here's the other thing. I'm not into labels, but there's that whole conversation lately about am I trans or am I not, because I've said, I'm in the wrong body. I'm not doing anything about it at the moment, but I may in the future, so where do I sit? And I've said, I'm just me. And, whatever that looks like. And I think when we're looking at ourselves through this, we have the ability to just be us. And here's the thing, I really encourage you guys to really sit down and take a moment and go, are you being you? Have you been being you? Or have you been too busy in this whole, not now, but life, have you been too busy to be you? And so you get the ability to just sit and go, am I being me? Am I doing what I want to do? I saw Susanna say, still exercising like you're preparing to go to Peru. Totally. I want to go to South America. I want to go and hang out and do stuff like that. So I'm going to keep doing that stuff. And I think that's the cool bit, right? We can slow down for a minute and take time to go, what's really important to us in life? Are we doing what's important to life, to us in life? Is that what we want to be doing? And I'm very clear that when we come out of this, I don't want to be on my own. I've been going, yeah, I'm really cool. I'm just going to be on my own. I don't really want to be with anyone. And I'm sitting here rattling around. And Rue's amazing, but, she doesn't talk back much. She's a little quiet. She sleeps 20 hours a day. Oh, go figure. And I think we have the ability as humans at the moment to really think about what it is we want. And I want to go back to talking about peer support for peer supporters, because I've kind of got off on my own little soapbox, which those of you who know me know I do that quite often. I think it's a family trait. What do you think, Emma Priest? I'll see what she says about that. But if she's still on, I don't know. She has a little fella, so she may or may not have stayed on. But I think one of the other things that people have been talking about is this whole, how do we generate that? Yeah. Em just put on there, yep, we're all like that, right? So one of the things for me is how do we generate this stuff when we're doing peer support? So for some people, we've got phones, and it's important for us to kind of think about, like, how do we utilize the skills we've always used, right? So maybe we'll see people through FaceTime or Zoom or whatever. Maybe we won't. Now, so whether it's seeing people and being able to look at the non-verbals, or whether it's hearing people and being able to hear those tones, we want to check stuff out. So again, it's the same stuff we'd be doing always, right? But some of the things we want to think about on those platforms is how do we stay as safe as we can in those platform environments? Because I'm very clear that, and should I swear here? Yeah. No, probably. Charlotte might slap me, but there's a whole lot of dickhead wankers out there who are hacking into all of the different environments that we're using. And so we use Zoom, and we've taken a look and kind of done the best that we can to make it secure. So when you're using different technology, think about, are there ways to make it as secure as possible? Because I did see on Facebook yesterday, one of the guys I really respect, who's a peer worker in the US, talked about they were doing peer support for peer workers, and someone hacked in and put up porno on it, and they were trying to get out of it. And so one of the ways that, you can make it harder, I don't know if it's going to stop hackers completely, but talking about putting passwords when you're using Zoom or some kind of group like that, not allowing people just to come straight into the calls, that you actually have people wait until you let them on. And if you're hosting it, being the only person that can share a screen, and like it may be that you have one other person that you allow, but really trying to limit some of those things, because in reality, we're going to have those dickheads out there, wankers, annoying bastards. See, I used all of that language. Sorry, Charlotte. But there's going to be people that are taking advantage right now. We've already seen all those, like, sending emails out to tell people to buy this COVID-19 vaccine and do this and do that. And I think the majority of the world is really coming together, and there are some people doing that stuff. So I think when we're supporting ourselves, utilising different technology, we want to kind of make sure we're up to date as possible with what we can do around that. But we also want to support, if we're supporting others, how do we support them with that too? So we can keep up to date by whatever platform we use, taking a look at their security stuff and seeing if we can do that. Because we also know that information and privacy commissions are trying to keep up with everyone working online, and they're offering like a little more relaxed situations. And I think one of the cool things for us at Robyn Priest Live Your Truth is we're not dealing with people's personal data, so we don't have the same issues, but we want to make sure we're being as secure as we can. Now, one of the things that's come up, a few of the things that's come up this week, in the grand scheme of things, is how do we as a community really rally behind healthcare workers, first responders? What are we doing for that? So, Charlotte and I had a conversation the other day, and we decided that we wanted to put some more free online peer support up. So we're actually, we talked with the peer support coordinator at Eastern Health from Newfoundland, and her and I are going to be running a peer supporter for healthcare workers on Tuesday evenings for the foreseeable future. And I was just thinking ways that, if we get like big numbers of how we manage that. We do have the ability to have a few different like healthcare peer workers on. So it's not only like supporting the like traditional mental health addiction kind of stuff, but looking outside of that into peer-to-peer stuff in the workplace. And we all know that healthcare workers are under the drum at the moment, trying to keep up with what's happening. And, also deal with their own families and their own stress level about are they going to get sick by being at work and so forth like that. So we've got that free one coming up. And again, it's like Eastern Health and Robyn Priest Live Your Truth going, how do we give back to Canada? And it's really important for me to give back to Canada because Canada is my home. And I want to support people here the best I can. We've also working with another agency at the moment to look at a first responders like peer support group. So hopefully in the next couple of days that will go up on our website too. And the other one that came up, and this came up as a result of doing the radio the other day and potentially getting prepared to talk about kids and parents and family and teachers and what they're going through is we're now putting some... Hey, there's someone from the UK here. Way cool. Congrats. Awesome. Welcome. But I was saying teachers, we want to... In Australia, mate, we want to support teachers too. So we've got a ex-principal, teacher who's been doing our peer support program. So her and I are going to run a free online peer support for teachers on Wednesdays. So if you know any teachers, healthcare, first responders, let them know to check out the website. But also, know that we've got our general peer support for peer supporters, and we've also got a family peer support happening. So we're trying to do calls that cover off a range of people in terms of peer support because we know how important it is. And when we think about this again is the perfect opportunity for us to go, this isn't just about peer support for people who have a diagnosed mental health issue or an addiction issue, because the reality is peer support is about people who share a common experience coming together and talking about it. And in reality, across the world at the moment, we're all dealing with a common experience. And it's been interesting because in those calls, we've had healthcare professionals, the current ones that we're having. We've had people who are working in psychiatric inpatient. We've had people who are working in day programs, both doing stuff virtually now. We've had pilots from pilot peer programs. We've had healthcare peer-to-peer people join on, and the reality is they're all kind of coming up with the same issues, right? The insecurity. I'm making up new words here. Are you all enjoying the new words? Those insecurities of what do we do? And again, it's what can we control? And we keep hearing from different people about having a routine. Do we still get up and do the same thing? And for me, I'm very clear. I have the same routine most days. I must admit, yesterday I didn't. I was a slug. And a slug's okay. I got up, I didn't have my regular shower, I went back to sleep. Yay! I may have had a shower in the afternoon, but that's beside the point. Because a shower is one of those healthcare things for me, one of those wellness tools, one of those coping strategies. It's where I do a lot of my thinking. I was in the shower earlier today. You don't want to imagine that, please don't. But I was in there and I was thinking about what do I want to talk about today? What am I going to ramble on for the next hour about? And, you know, sometimes I just write myself a few notes about what are the key things that have come up over the last week for people. I did make peanut butter balls yesterday. Yes, Susanna. I forgot. I did. I didn't forget because I've been eating them and they've been awesome. But yesterday in the Fit and Fun Mental Health 5 or 10 minutes, because I always go over my 5 minutes, I made peanut butter balls, and today I have an exciting mind thinking thing. Hey, there's someone from Canada, Una. I'm not sure. I know you, mate. Where are you from in Canada? I would love you guys to actually put online where you're all from. A couple of people have said countries and stuff, but I'd love to hear from where you are. Like, come on, let's get it popping. Because, you know, I can only talk to myself so long and I read the comments as I see them. But I think one of the things, like as we go through this, I don't care where we are, right? Anywhere in the world at the moment, we are dealing with similar things. So I only know one place at the moment that is not dealing with some of this stuff at the moment. Like I looked 2 days ago, so I didn't look today, but I've been doing work in Palau in the past, and Palau didn't a couple of days ago when I looked have any active cases, and they're this like gorgeous little island out near the Philippines. Well, a 2-hour flight, and so far, it looked like they were doing okay. So, but the reality for the rest of the world is we're still ramping up. Like, and none of us know what that's going to look like. And some countries, you know, are doing a little different. I love that you guys are putting where you're from. And so I want to share a couple of different ways that, you know, I've been talking to people in different countries. So I was talking to people in New Zealand yesterday, and I've got to say that Prime Minister, she's had the hugest 3 years, right? She's had a major terrorist attack with people being killed at the mosque. I think it was last year. I can't even remember. Then there was that earthquake in White Island. Now there's this, and I got to say that woman is amazing. And so in New Zealand, they've got about 1,000 cases. They have one person died, and I think it's 11 or 12 days ago now. Well, she closed down the country pretty early on. Yes, she is amazing, Jacinda. Like, I have such admiration. She's also had a baby since she's been in office. But she closed the country down relatively quickly, quicker than most countries. And 11 or 12 days ago, I think it's 12 days ago now, she put everyone into their own house and said, you need to stay at home, you can only leave essential services. She closed that country down for 4 weeks. And she said minimum of 4 weeks. And yeah, there's some dickheads, as there is in every country, but predominantly people have been doing what they say. And here's one of the things. In 4 weeks, if they have no more cases, they open up a little. But I was chatting with my brother about it last night, about then they have to be self-sufficient, right? Because they're not going to be able to let other people in because other countries are still grappling with it. So I think one of the things that I see occurring is, like, we're getting closer internationally, like in terms of me talking to peers around the world, and we're sharing our common experiences, and countries are also coming back to their roots and going, we actually have to have economies in our own countries and not rely on getting stuff in from other countries all the time. It's this kind of really interesting kind of way of being. But what I hope is that peer supporters and people all across the world come together and have conversations like this. Because, you know, you guys can see like all the different places that people are popping up on here. And like, how cool is that we actually get to find out what's happening in different places. And I see people throwing up that stay at home kind of little logo. Yes, if we could just stay at home, we have a shot at this. If we keep going out, then we're going to be here for longer. And I know that Canadians, oh my God, Canadians not being able to go to the lake this summer, they'll be rioting. Well, there might not be, but, you know, I've heard some people already saying, oh, what am I going to do if I can't get my boat out? What if people don't go to the lake? Please don't go to the lake if you're Canadian in the summer, if we haven't cleared this, because the little tiny hospitals can't cope, right? So getting back to this, I feel like I'm just rambling. Someone ask me a question. Come on, ask me something funny. I'll tell you about my life. So this week I've talked on those 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time little fit and fun mental health things about how I felt. There are days when I feel really lonely. It's just me and Roo, and she's kind of come in here. She might start snoring soon. You'll hear her. She's very loud. And there's times where, like, I'm happy. But every day I look at what's my happy place. What do I do to have me, like, smile at least once a day? And, you know, some of that is talking to you guys. And I'm going to have a sip of coffee because my voice is, you know, getting interesting. And it's one of those things that I would love to hear you guys kind of what you do for happiness every day. I see a question. Love the questions. Here we go. So, do the kids in Australia believe in the Easter Bunny? Well, yes. They do. Although there is a story as a little kid, and I don't know if Emma remembers this, about the bunyips doing stuff around Easter too. But we believe in the Easter Bunny, and this year we have to look at how does the Easter Bunny come in the midst of COVID-19. That will be an interesting concept for parents to kind of talk through. And Susanna, I want you to think about sometime in the next few days, I'm going to do an Australian segment on fit and fun mental health. And I think it could be very, very funny. Because if you guys haven't seen Fit and Fun for Mental Health, I try and do something silly and then have a bit of a conversation. Let's see. Far North Queensland's asking me what makes you smile. Well, watching my dog jump about in the snow. She's like a little Easter bunny. She's like, if she's got a big puddle of snow, she's jumping. What else makes me smile? Knowing that I can get on these calls makes me smile. Knowing that peer support is being taken more seriously makes me smile. We're working on some very cool stuff across the country. Susanna's got a joke. Okay, you better type it in then, buddy. While I keep chatting about what makes me smile. Emma Priest, what makes you smile? I'm going to put my niece on the on here. I think her little boy Landon probably makes her smile. Oh, there's something funny for you guys that are Canadian. When Emma had Landon and she told people she was calling him Landon, my mum was like, "That's not a very Australian name." And I'm like, "What's an Australian name? Bruce?" Well, if it was a girl, you could call her Sheila, although I know some Sheilas here. Susanna, why does the Easter Bunny hide its eggs? Oh, I'm scared to ask, but why? Emma's talking about her family. So Emma's been living over here for a number of years, and they have a family connection because some of her family are in Brisbane in Australia, some are in Perth, she's over here. And they've stayed very connected virtually for a long time. They have a group chat, they get on like calls together. And I think like we have the ability to do that, Susanna, because no one wants to know it sleeps with the chicken. Oh, these are tragic jokes. But, you know, I think that's it, right? Let's share jokes. Let's be silly. I think one of the things for me is, do we get to let our inner child out? This is the perfect time. If you're a little more serious, which is not me, come on, let's be real. I can be, but I don't think it's my normal nature. I've been a bit of a, funny one for as long as I can remember. Emma can probably attest to that. She's known me her whole life. But I think, let your inner child out. Let those people who are a little more serious, my challenge to you through all this is think about what are the things you've never let yourself do. Well, obviously, you have to do them in the house or, in your backyard or something. But what are the things you've never let yourself do that you've wanted to, or even if you've had a vague thought about it, right? I encourage you to let that loose. And I would love you guys to share on our Facebook page, what you do to let your inner child out, whether it be now or whether it be tonight. You go away and go, yeah, I'm going to, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have some fun soon, and challenge your brains. Well, maybe not, but I'm going to challenge you to challenge your brains when we get off these calls and do that, just to have some fun. But I don't know if our mate from the UK is still on here, and I use mate loosely because I don't actually know you, but mate is one of those Australian words that's like mate. We use it. And I didn't realise how much I used it till I went to New Zealand and then the US and now here. And I often say, g'day, mate. Someone stuffs their inner child with lollies. And for those of you who don't know what lollies is, it's the Australian word for candy. So I have had to, truthfully, I've taken stuff out of the house because I will just eat it all down. And I must admit, yesterday I opened the packet of chocolate chips to make the the peanut butter balls. And last night I was like, I want that chocolate. Oh. And I did good because I didn't. But I know that if I sniff sugar, I want to have it. So I might have some. I'll just be a little cautious with that. I love to dance. I love to lip sync. I think if I had have been a boy, and I'm meant to be a boy, I'm just in this body, but if I had have actually been a boy, I think I would be a drag queen. Because that sounds insane, doesn't it? I'd be a straight drag queen because I want to lip sync and throw my arms around. But, I don't do it outside of this house. Although some of you have been on my Facebook page and I've done it. And I stopped because it kept cutting the sound out. And I haven't worked out how we might do that. So I think what I'm going to do is do some lip syncing battles on Zoom and offering people the option of doing that. Emma Priest, chocolate chips eating when you're baking must run in the family. I think that's pretty cool. Going to San Fran for the shows, that's awesome. So one of the things we can do is watch some of the older like shows. We can find some of those on video at the moment. RuPaul's Drag Race, I love that. Oh my God, I just love it. And I think I might place it on my personal Facebook page. I may place it on work. But a few years ago, I may have gone to a party as a drag queen. And I may have had a drag queen ask me how my breasts look so real. And I was like, I must be a good drag queen, because I looked at him and I just went, they are. But you know, it's doing stuff that has us giggle, right? And if you've got a partner, maybe you play a game of Twister with, even if you don't have a Twister thing, maybe you put some marks on the floor in non-permanent marker, and you just have a silly game of Twister and laugh, or whatever it is. I don't know. I feel like I'm just rambling. So I'm looking at the time. I have my computer over here so I can see the time. But I wondered if you guys wanted to see what I'm looking at while I'm talking to you. So behind my screen is my little friend here. So I've been holding you guys up, but sometimes my little friend here is the one that holds you guys like up, and we'll be holding you up when I'm doing fit and fun mental health. But yeah, find a movie that you like, or I did salsa dancing the other day, and those of you who are watching that live feed could have fun. This week I will be doing some other dancing, so you may have a laugh. Some of it is going to look incredibly funny when I'm doing it myself. I think I'll be using the vacuum. That would be mop and vacuum together. I'll be using one of those lovely women to dance with. And, you know, I think I'm going to do that. Some people have talked about learning languages. I've got to say, my language brain is not the one that speaks to me very often. But I would like to learn sign language while I'm kind of dealing with this, you know, being at home more. And I don't know whether I will, because, you know, it's busy at the moment for me working in mental health. It's busy for our company, and sometimes I get to the end of the day and I just like blob on the couch, and I think blobbing's good. I will be putting up a lip sync. Charlotte, we have to do that tomorrow. Put up a lip sync battle on our page so that people can come to that, because I want to see you guys instead of just like talking to you like this. And please let me know if you think these conversations are like useful to have, because I feel like I just talk about what I want to talk about. And people are joining and saying, and I'm kind of engaging as much as I can. Susanna, the boomerang that does not come back, like any boomerang for me doesn't come back, because I throw it and it never comes back to me. I am not a good boomerang thrower. So what do you call a boomerang that doesn't come back? A stick, yes. So I pick up lots of things called boomerangs and they become sticks because I throw them and they just plop on the ground. So I want to encourage you to try different things. Try the things you've always wanted to try that haven't. Wear the clothes you've always wanted to wear that you never did, or not wear clothes. Who the hell's going to see anyway? Oh, well, if you got windows like me, people will see. So I'm not going to do that. But like maybe we have a society of people who become nudists. I don't know. Or you could be like me and you could wear a shirt like this on the top and you can wear your sports shorts on the bottom with no shoes. Who would know if I hadn't have told you? You'd think I was like very formally dressed today. Well, Actually, those of you who know me would know I wouldn't be. But, we're coming to the end, and I need to get off so that I can get back on for mental health, fit and fun, or fit and fun for mental health. I just want to say before I go, thank you. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for sending messages. Thank you for being part of my life. And even if I don't know you and you've just joined, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because this brings me joy. This keeps me in a happy place. I just see my best friend from high school just joined. Anne, you're just right at the end of this. Anne Macaulay. Well, prayers maybe now. She got married last year. Woo woo. I encourage you to all jump off this call, and I'm going to be back online in about 4 minutes, and I have very funny, I think it's funny, fit and fun mental health. So if you can all join back on, hey Anne. Anne's probably one of the few people in the world that calls me Priesty. And truth be told, Anne came from the US and was at my high school the last year of schooling, and we lost contact. We were best buddies, and we started talking about 3 years ago again, and it brings my heart joy that she has joined today. So my niece, all you guys from Winnipeg, you guys across the world, you make my life a better place. So please come back online in a minute or two and join me for fit and fun mental health. Please, Anne, please. Stay well. Find those moments of joy in all of this. And love you lots, guys. Love you. Thanks for joining. And everyone else. I was just saying it to my little niece. Okay, bye.